Welcome to this week's Eternal Monday and another episode of First Drafts. This week we have Dialga G level X control up against Banette Vileplume. For the record, Banette Vileplume is on here because it lost a key card in the most recent ban list update when Green's Exploration left the format. So it is having to scramble and re-find its life. We will see if its modifications work or if the deck is falling apart completely. Meanwhile, we are going to hear from the creator of the list for Dialga G level X control.
So with Dialga G, it's a deck that Dialga G level X and G. It's a deck that I've actually been wanting to make for quite a while. It's actually something that I did play when I was growing up as a kid. I do really enjoy playing the deck. Early on, when I was trying to make the deck, there was key things that were banned. One of which was Glimwood Tangle, or Victini from Noble Victories with its Victory Star ability. And with the most recent ban list, there was some stuff that was removed off the ban list, and Glimwood Tangle and Victini happened to be two of those cards. So it let me build the deck how I wanted to originally. So Dialga G, you're primarily using it as the first attack for Deafen, where it says your opponent cannot play trainers, which in this case means items, and also stadium cards. Now, since it is Diamond and Pearl era, Dialga G and Dialga G level X, since they're level up cards, they share names essentially. So you cannot have a 4/4 line like you could with like Dialga V and then Dialga V star. It has to be a 2/2 or a 3/1. You cannot go to a 4/4, unfortunately, otherwise it would be. However, Dialga G level X has a Pokebody called Time Crystal. Each Pokemon, both yours and your opponent's, excluding Pokemon SP, can't use any Pokebodies. So it does shut off like Banette with Item Lock, where it says like it has the Pokebody where players can't play items, so it does shut off that. Now,
to be clear, it shuts off Vileplume, not Banette.
Vileplume. But I mean, there are other stuff in format that it could shut off. But it does not have to be in the active to actually apply its Pokebody. It could be just chilling down on the bench.
It does have to be in the active spot, however, to level up.
Yes, that is the level up rule. Then with Remove Lost, it's Dialga G level X's attack. It's 2 metal and 2 colorless for 80 damage. You're not really doing it for the damage. You're mostly doing it for the effect. So the reason why Glimwood Tangle is in here will also explain the attack. So Glimwood Tangle is once during each player's turn. After that player flips any coins for attacks, they ignore all results and flip again. Same thing with Noble, with the Noble Victories, Victini with the Victory Star ability. It's essentially Glimwood Tangle on an ability. With Remove Lost, you flip a coin until you get tails. For each heads, you do Lost Zone energy attached to the defending Pokemon. As some people have seen my luck with this coin flip stuff already, it's pretty crazy. Now with level X's, it is really important to note that you can still use the attacks and everything of the thing that it leveled up from. So I can still deafen with Dialga G level X in play. So that if you see me doing that, that is why. Now, to also make this also really work, we do have Team Galactic's invention, G101, otherwise known as Energy Gain, where most people commonly know it from. But as long as this is attached to a Pokemon, so these can only be attached to Pokemon SP, by the way.
Pokemon SP, for those who are unfamiliar,
are like they're essentially trainer Pokemon for the Diamond and Pearl era. They
Pokemon G, Pokemon
like
FL,
like Frontier Brain.
Pokemon.
So like the G,
Full
the G essentially stands for Team Galactic's Dialga essentially, and then you had Frontier Brain, so you have like Garchomp C from anybody that's familiar with like any Garchomp deck really, because it is Cynthia's Garchomp.
C,
And
of course,
then
stand for champion.
yeah. But with Team Galactic's energy gain, it reduces the attack by 1. So like I can deafen for 1 metal. I can do remove lost for 3 energy. Now, along with more SP Pokemon, I have Frontier Brain Staraptor level X. Not only is it a pivot, you're not using it for the attack, you're primarily actually having it as a SP Pokemon. You're having it as a pivot, but you're also doing Fast Call, Pokepower. Fast Call, Pokepower will let me go get any supporter from my deck and just add it to my hand.
It's like the Astral Radiance Glade.
Yeah, except
It's actually the same. No, Fast Call is Dragonites.
Yeah, Dragonites. Except it's a Pokepower and not ability, because I do also run Garbotoxin in here, so the whole deck is centered around I'm primarily using Pokebodies and Pokepowers, but I'm also using Garbotoxin to essentially shut off my opponent's abilities.
So there you go. All right, for Banette. So Banette Vileplume is ultimately a known quantity in the Eternal format. However, like I said earlier, it has lost some of its zing when Green's Exploration left, so it's having to reconfigure itself. The main star of the show for this deck, of course, is Banette.EX. It has the attack Everlasting Darkness, which does 30 damage, and says during your opponent's next turn, they can't play any item cards from their hand. It also has the attack Poltergeist, which does 60 damage for each trainer card that your opponent reveals from their hand. So theoretically, with you item locking them with either of the 2 Vileplumes, so they're in here we have 2 different Vileplumes. There's the Vileplume from Undaunted, which has a Pokebody that says they can't play any trainer cards. Of course, this is a Diamond and Pearl era / Heart Gold Soul Silver era card. That means, of course, item cards, not all trainer cards. And then there's the Ancient Origins Vileplume that has the ability. It does the same thing. It says you can't play any item cards. There's also the Vileplume from Burning Shadows that says basic Pokemon can't attack. So, for example, this particular Pokemon could be in the active spot, and if it were in the active spot and Garbotoxin were not active, it would prevent Dialga from attacking, because even as a level X Pokemon, it would still be a basic Pokemon. So Deafen would be not a possibility. We also have, of course, a couple of Oddish in here. We have the Oddish, the Psychic type Oddish here for being able to be sought out via Fog Crystal. But we are also running a single copy of the Water type Oddish, because we're still able to evolve from that Oddish. And it turns out that Brooklet Hill is really common in the format, so it's nice to have another out to Oddish. And if your opponent's playing Brooklet Hill, you can just throw down your Oddish. The deck is actually also running a copy of the Fighting type Baltoy for the same reason, so that it can be found with Brooklet Hill and then evolved up into the Claydol. That is a common draw engine in the Eternal format. The last card in this particular deck that is being tested out for this new version of the deck is Grand Tree. One of the biggest problems that Banette has is search, unfortunately. And so Grand Tree, even though it is kind of an accelerator in terms of evolution, its main purpose is going to be serving as an out to evolution for either Gloom, Vileplume, or Banette.EX itself. So if you have the rare candy, you can and have the Grand Tree out, you're able to find stuff that way. It makes Guzma and Hala a lot better because you're able to use Guzma and Hala to find Pokemon that way. So if you need to evolve up into Banette.EX, or if you need to evolve up into Gloom and then Vileplume, you can do it with Grand Tree, which basically means you're much more likely to get your Vileplume out on your second turn than you would be otherwise. But that is the basics of this new version of Banette. Hopefully it works. Again, this is a first draft, so we shall see. But let's get shuffled up and we'll jump into it.
Tails. Is that a one?
That is a one.
Tails. I'm not using the trick dice.
Banette usually goes first.
And it goes first.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, Banette usually goes first. It doesn't mind going second, but it usually goes first.
You want to get those evolutions down as soon as possible.
Yeah.
I'll go first. Everyone with peer pressure. Go first. Go first. Go first. How'd it go for you here?
This is gonna be I think it's gonna be a fun game. It's gonna be different because these are both fun decks.
I'm really interested to see how Ben like this list because I wasn't watching when they were playtesting it.
Well, this is a different list. Isn't the same one.
Okay.
Yeah. Banette is similar to the one because she was playing the list before I got a chance to try it out. But
He's already cheating. Draw for turn. Also a Dark Crystal. So for Punish.
that moment when Vileplume is actually playing items. It's only like turn 1, sometimes turn 2, and that's about it. Otherwise, if Vileplume's playing items, you're kind of screwed.
And the list is set mostly to geared for supporters only, right?
Yeah, it's primarily supporters. It does have items in it, but they're pretty light.
Trubbish. Buddy.
Yeah, one of Buddy popping coming in clutch.
I mean, Ryan's playing the deck. Of course, he finds it turn 1.
Yeah.
Ball toy. Nest ball. For Dialga G. Carbon. Their Lost Remover. And Energy Gain.
That's what's so powerful about that 4th gen Dialga. It just starts attacking the first turn it can. Dude, that's so frustrating.
So Energy Gains text, for those who are not familiar, says, as long as Team Galactic's invention G101 Energy Gain is attached to a Pokemon, that attack cost of that Pokemon's attacks is 1 colorless less. And it can only be attached to Pokemon SP.
And Deafen.
So Deafen from Dialga essentially restricts item cards and stadiums, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
Yeah.
So no Grand Tree.
You play tools, right?
Yeah, you can play tools.
He's so afraid.
Thanks to the split, yes.
And
And
An interesting thing that we noted about Cyrus, that because of that split also, traditionally in retro format, Energy Gain would be fair game for Cyrus, what is it, Cyrus Conspiracy?
Cyrus Conspiracy, yeah.
Yeah, it would be fair game to go, but because it became a tool, it is no longer a valid target. So people familiar with Energy Gain would probably try to grab it for it from the Gen 4 format, but in Eternal, because it goes with the new rules, it essentially breaks it a little bit.
Yeah, Eternal follows Unlimited's rules, which of course are the current rules for the game itself. So because of that, you can't grab the tool cards with Cyrus, is because it's looking for an item card, and those Pokemon tool cards are no longer item cards.
Flipstone.
Still have my powers.
Power spray.
Okay. And you have to have 3 SP in play.
Yes. 1, 2, 3.
Yep. Unfortunately, that
That's
is
just one I've used though.
Yep, it's done.
one of the most frustrating parts about Gen 4. It's the only counterplay card in Pokemon history.
There are 2 actually. It's
Really?
2.
What's the other one?
Alakazam.
Team Galactic says P Radar.
I guess Slowking would count also. Mind games? No, because it's cats.
For Dialga G level X.
It's Alakazam for Mysterious Treasures has power cancel. So it says once during your opponent's turn, when your opponent's Pokemon uses any Poke Power, you may discard 2 cards from your hand and prevent all effects of that Poke Power. This counts as that Pokemon using its Pokemon power.
Level up.
Interesting.
Would I go for, like, hypothetically speaking, if you have 2 balls or 2 play balls, does it count?
Team
If
Galactic.
you cancel the 1 activation, it does not cancel it. You can't use it more than once per turn, can you?
Power cancel says once during your opponent's turn.
So then
You would have to have 2 Alakazam.
And Ryan, what's the guy's attack?
All Pokemon powers stop working until the end of your opponent's next turn. It does also mean Pokebodies as well. So it's Pokemon powers and bodies. And
Pokemon powers. Pokemon powers means Pokebodies and Pokemon powers. Yeah.
That's one of the weirdest part of the Eternal format, just understanding the difference between Pokemon powers, Pokebodies, and abilities. And how they interact.
At some point soon, I'm going to make a video talking about the differences and how to understand them. I'm probably going to do one about trainer cards at some point too.
And is it just Gen 4 in which trainers?
Gen 4 is the one that screwed everything up, yeah.
Trainers refers to items specifically.
All the other generations are normal, but not Gen 4.
we need like a big rig X one. Or like a token that says like no stadiums, no items.
It shouldn't even be a red X. It should literally just be the guy with the goop gas machine.
Abilities aren't blocked currently, so semi-blooming energy. I get to look at the top 3 cards on my deck and attach any number of basic enemy cards I find there to my book.
It was a
Ooh, that was what. But it's an interesting bloom, honestly.
Yeah, it's not gonna hit often, but it's one of those things where it's like might as well have it in there just in case kind of thing.
I mean, it's literally not going to hurt. It's just going to help.
Right.
Pass.
Cosmic. Cosmic power for 6.
And also, currently, no Pokebodies are available besides Dialga with G's level X's, right?
Yes. Pokemon Collector. Yeah.
Is that a
What were
Yeah.
the targets for you're failing the collector?
Yeah.
Okay.
Luxray Geo. Cards in hand.
Five.
Good guess.
It's his last one.
And Deafen.
Draw. Roseanne's research.
Just what does Roseanne's research do again?
Roseanne's Research is a supporter card from Secret Wonders. It says, search your deck for up to 2 in any combination of basic Pokemon and basic energy cards. Show them to your opponent and put them into your hand. Shuffle your deck afterward. It's like a better version of Sonia, but much older.
Yeah.
Or shove it in the psychic energy. Bench, patch, and then Everlasting Darkness for 10.
And now the Dialga control player is also item locked.
Irvin.
The tool item split makes these decks less toxic, for sure. That would be pretty crazy otherwise.
Yeah, this deck, like the core of this deck essentially is Dialga X-Ray from Gen 4, and
The deck core still works.
yeah,
So, oh well.
Should know. I'm just gonna get the Floatstone. Not even gonna bother getting that item because it's item locks. Um, Cosmic Power for 4. Full Metal Lab.
not a card we see much of, but if I remember correctly, it's minus 20,
30.
minus 30,
Yeah.
and that's for metal.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, just so we're clear, the Dialga does have 10 damage on it, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm putting on
Oh,
the
it's
level
the
X
it's the
because
die. The
it's
die is blending into the card. Is what's happening.
This one is that one better?
That's better, yeah.
Okay.
It just so happens to be that same queue of
Yeah.
Dialga.
Unintentional. Deafen for 10.
This is the slowest, fastest race I've ever seen.
I know, right?
Hey, after I don't know how many turns you can Cosmic Power again. I mean, by this point, you would scoots.
Yes, most definitely.
Ray would have run out of the room crying first.
But I'll be honest with you,
Can
I'm
you look
like,
at my deck list, please?
Yes.
honestly though, I mean, I feel like both decks are still in pretty decent condition. Like it might be frustrating, but both of the decks can literally.
Both these decks are meant to work the way they're working, so they're
Yes.
not worried about it.
Such.
In other words, nobody's
Surprising.
ahead right now.
No, there's just no value in me playing this, but I have to.
Oh yeah, because you can't play.
See?
You can't play items or stadiums.
I mean, there is
Power
value. There's some value.
You get the special energy, which is
Yeah.
ideal.
I have to.
Which
Nuke
at
a
that
bit.
point he's literally discarding just to get essentially the energy.
That's
I
what
mean-
I'm saying. There's
You should be able to knock out the Dialga though, right?
I do take.
I
I have
have
resistance
to
to
hit-
psychic also.
like 3 trainers. He's resisting me by.
And I'm
50 or
almost certain that Ryan would be smart enough to not.
I
have that
know
many
this
trainer cards.
matchup already. Like
So-
in format, out of what I've played against like this whole week, that is the best deck that has the best shot.
Yeah,
range.
but that special energy is gonna mess you up too. So.
Yeah, and if he can keep
Cosmic power.
Everlasting Darkness on, he won't be able to last in the third. I'm not sure if he still even has that left.
And he
I mean,
runs 2 and he's
Everlasting
playing
Darkness won't.
for 1.
Everlasting Darkness won't do any damage though.
Yeah, that's correct. Yes,
Yeah.
he's essentially doing it to keep the item lock. Well,
Yeah, or he has to pray that he hits 3 trainers.
That's crazy. How that happens.
I think it needs to be after an end, so you have no control over it.
It's gonna be Luxray level X, Star After level X,
Both of which I can
Glowstone
pivot.
number 2, and
Because level X free retreat, level X free retreat, free retreat.
No, he's trying to guess your cards to see how many trainers you would have. in your hand.
you have. So you'll take 10 damage.
I think at that point the item lock is worth more than the 10 damage.
I think you're right. I don't know. Whatever, poltergeist.
2.
And there's that last
So
one.
6, 12, minus 50.
Take 7,
70 damage plus the 10 that's already on there. So 80 total. And Dialga has the level X has how much? 100?
120.
120.
40 left.
Okay.
Draw. Monster remover.
Yeah.
At least they know he doesn't have the energy. I was kind of close to knowing his hand action.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were
really close.
Yeah, you were really close. Cosmic power for 4.
I just know what kind of luck he has, so I can just guess.
So it's just conspiracy. Basic energy. Supporter.
And your item with Team Galactic's in the name.
SP radar.
I'm telling you, 4th gen SP engine is so broken.
It really is.
It's almost like they wanted you to play that or something.
Mm-hmm. I would counter meta. Me,
Which is to say you put some 60 cards together in sleeves.
more or less. Scizor and Charm against the world, okay?
Cards in hand.
6.
Speed radar.
That'd be crazy. I haven't seen a battle from yet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm about to
actually,
comment
it's
on that.
quite crazy.
So just also to clarify a bit, the ruling with because the one that shuts up items, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I was just thinking out loud something like that. But the body one would be shut down by Dialga, right? Because it shuts down
Yes,
bodies.
because it'll show up Pokebodies.
Got
So in this case, the Ancient Origin one is actually advantageous because abilities aren't
the
shut off yet.
abilities, yeah.
I say yet because Garbotoxin is just not out yet.
Dialga G.
I don't know. Three Vileplumes, you haven't seen a single one,
They're currently hiding.
and you did Falcon Power last year.
Yep.
That's okay. They'll come out today.
Risk it. Remove lost.
Tails.
Heads. You want me to keep flipping?
No, I don't think
Or it
it's
just
necessary.
doesn't matter.
Yeah. Just to
And then 80.
and to clarify, can you read the?
So remove lost is I flip a coin until I get tails. For each heads, I lost zone energy attached to the defending Pokemon.
Trouble.
Not nice.
It's literally what the deck's supposed to do.
Yeah.
You can play items now.
It's true.
You gave him permission.
Mm-hmm.
You can also
At the,
play
at the cost of
stadiums.
an attack.
That's true. Stadiums are available now too.
I've not been able to handle it.
I would definitely bump a stadium if possible because that bitch is in the way.
In the way or annoying?
In a way.
Or
Poor Oddish.
Oh, beach.
Oddish.
More like the
The official mascot of Justin Baseball.
I mean,
it's not wrong.
Kind of.
I mean, no, that the Justin Baseball logo is totally not Oddish Leaves. They're just geometrical figures.
More like a plant. Yeah, see. Yeah,
because the thing is,
Alongside.
he doesn't even knock me out
true.
because I'm resistant to psychic.
I mean, it would do 10 damage.
He
If-
would,
If he can get rid of stadium card.
but then he's got to run the risk of me lost zoning his energy again.
It's also
Because
true.
if it's literally now at this point, he's attaching and I'm lost zoning each energy, like it's literally that's gonna fill up before he's even able to essentially get going.
But also, the horror energy does trigger before it gets lost on, correct?
That is a good question.
Yes. But horror energy hasn't been attacked into yet, right?
No, because I lost remembered both.
Yeah.
It hasn't happened yet, but just to clarify, see. Because I believe the order of sequence would be damage calculation and then any other effects.
And then priorities for the attack.
Well, you calculate
I think
then.
effects are triggered after, though. I have to look at the sequence.
Because that actually might matter.
Yeah, that matters a lot in
If
the
it comes out, yeah. I'll be looking it up while you guys are in playing.
Because if it does the effect first, obviously I'm gonna lost zone a horror energy before.
Yeah, and
It
to
deals
clarify a
damage
bit,
to
I think that this might actually have to do with Caleb's next move, so I think we should look this up first.
I'm just stuck. I have a few options and I don't know what to do.
Knowing this might help you decide.
Yes,
I wasn't listening, so I don't know what you were saying.
Well, never mind. You do you, boo.
What is happening?
So,
shenanigans.
we're essentially trying to figure out to make sure if our energy triggers when he what's it called?
Lost to remove
Remove loss, yes. And when he removes loss, and removes the energy. If it obviously gets removed, does the horror still do the damage?
Can I see my list, please?
Yeah, sorry. Trying to. This, seeing this at the same time isn't working.
I feel like
Is that even in this deck? Not see. Okay. I'm gonna just do it, just whatever. I'm tired of touch per turn.
That's the base. I don't know. That's the basics. Can't attack, right?
what does level X count as a basic?
They're
Yeah.
level ups. It's basically whatever is underneath it.
Mhm.
Level X's are level ups. They're
Is it everything you're hoping for?
by the way, it will actually matter for my next attack.
I'm working on it.
Okay.
The companion doesn't seem to have anything on horror specifically.
I know there's something on Shell Trap. I'm trying to see if it's related.
Caleb, how many cards in hand?
6. Or that's in darkness for nothing.
Set for item lock. Cosmic power for 2. Limit tangle.
I think this is gonna be a like damage calculation step first, right? That's what it's gonna come down to, Jason.
So it's determine damage, effects of attacks, deal damage, and then effects upon damage being dealt.
Wait, say that again.
Determine damage,
Uh-huh.
the effects of attacks then take place, then deal the damage, then deal with the effects of having damage been dealt.
Okay, so
Where would the effect?
so remove losses effect would
Up.
trigger before
Before
the energy.
horror. Yes.
Okay.
So the horror would fall under which of those steps?
The second part.
Apply
Sorry,
damage.
the attack falls on the second part. Horror gets hit during that part. And
remove loss.
And then, as far as horror,
Limit tangle.
yay!
This is huge.
then actually though,
So
I take 80.
because obviously this is the determination and it says to determine damage. Are we sure where horror energy lands on that? On those steps? Because it's talking about the calculation of the attacks itself, but there's no real specificity to like when the energy card effect would trigger, right?
it's an effective. It is affected by the damage hitting the Pokemon.
So affect them and attack them.
So no more basics.
Well, it's only while it's active.
I
You have how
think
many cards in hand?
we'll play it as is, and then we'll like
4.
see if anybody else comes up with something else with that.
You have one in there, I bet. You had probably one. I hate having so many supporters because I don't know what to do with them.
You toss them at your opponent, and then you run.
Yeah, that deck is definitely a slower paced deck.
I'm not even actually getting mad at him for not
How,
deciding because
how
like
many cards do you even have in your hand?
Bob at that
4.
Bloodstone.
Okay, so you're fobbing the Floatstone. Seems good. Fava.
Oh,
Fava.
yes.
I'm gonna attach for turn. And then Poltergeist. Yes, he had one.
Woody's the one.
And you took a single price off that.
Yippee! The first
Yeah.
prize of the game.
But Dialga, the bitch, is dead, so it's okay.
But there's another one waiting. Very easy to level up.
Item one.
Points.
Top effects,
So-
including heavy ones.
Yeah.
So H is remove loss, right? And
So
I is resolve effects triggered by attacking. That would be the horror.
yes. Which is why it's before it.
Yep.
For the record, this has been up the whole time. That's what I was reading up.
Right.
Cosmic power. There are 4.
The judge test of the level one has a lot of questions about specifically that kind of stuff, right?
Not really.
No, well, like not the basic judge, but like the upgrades.
Danger one doesn't really either.
Really?
They're mostly pretty basic questions. At least I feel like they're pretty basic questions.
That's at 200.
Most of the rulings in Eternal are more complicated than stage one judge test.
I felt like when I looked at a judge test like from like 10 years ago, it would have a lot of like when this effect triggers and stuff like that.
I mean, it has
I think I know what you
asks, but I think it's asking questions, but they're not really that complicated.
It's such like a. You're making me think, Jason.
What?
I don't want to think.
Oh, this deck?
Yeah.
You have no energy on the others, right?
Nothing else has energy.
That's another thing.
You have 50 left.
I have 50 left.
I'm going to take the risk and second strike.
And that just does.
It does 70 if you already have, I think, 2 or more damage counters.
So you'll take 20 from the board.
But I would rather get your attacker off the board and make you play energy rather than leave it on the board and I also need to start taking prizes.
And we're off to the races, boys and girls.
Unfortunately, I did not get the thing I need. Needing.
Yeah. Well, Garboder can take a rest, so.
I'm curious, do you play Trash Lounge?
Wait, actually, though. It's a one energy attack.
I do have legacy energy in here.
Yeah, we could power it up.
You know why I did the garbage collection actually?
Mm. Yeah.
it's
I figured.
so mean.
Yeah, because again,
Because if I put legacy energy on it, it doesn't count as a prize or. You hate me so much right now. Didn't
yeah.
you?
And then fetch for turn. We're gonna do cosmic power. Putting you to the bottom. Enjoy.
Sure. I mean,
That's
I've seen
it's
worse.
not great.
It really isn't.
No, has energy been attached already, or is that?
Yeah.
Okay,
touched
that
it.
was the basic one.
Um, Roseanne's research. It's for basic Pokemon.
Basically.
Those two.
I guess maybe Banette is not a deck for people with high anxiety.
Yeah.
I should play it.
That's nothing.
You already start second guessing yourself with Urshifu.
What's an issue?
It's a big boy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what the difference is?
Cards in hand.
7.
The difference is Ryan doesn't have poltergeist.
All I'm saying is I might second guess myself. If I stop second guessing myself, I can
Do you understand Lucamine now?
Huh?
You understand the purpose of Lucamine now?
No, I was. I knew the purpose of listening. It's just Europe versus Seekers for.
Yeah.
But I was kind of wondering why he didn't use Grand Tree to evolve the Trubbish, but I think it's just because he wants to keep it a one retreater for it.
Honestly, I completely forgot it.
I thought you were keeping it as a one retreater on purpose, so I couldn't stall.
I was thinking it was because Garbotoxin's
Because
prize.
you had 2 full turns to do it, and I was like,
Again, he wasn't paying attention to
I don't know if you even have any tools to put on it though.
No, I do.
Yeah.
And like literally, that I'm actually trying to get the Garbotoxin.
Oh,
You had 2 turns?
Yeah.
That was a bit of a throw.
Because I'm fairly confident he runs 2 Bloodstone, and I think there's 3 energy gains. Although putting one on a Garbodor doesn't seem like it would feel good.
Can you even?
I
You
can't
can't.
put it.
Yeah, because I was gonna say.
You have one more tool, I just forget what it is.
That's okay. We all miss split sometimes.
I mean, this is literally first
Yeah.
draft, first play, so.
Especially me. Out of the blue.
Why did you give me such intensity?
Why not?
What are you blowing up?
So do we have like a intermission or anything planned
What?
when we get halfway through this game?
Yeah, do we have a halftime? Is there a halftime show where
Yeah.
it just
I can do shadow puppets.
Shadow puppets. That seems highly appropriate for Shuppet.
Oh, is he got a garbage collection?
He's
That's
gonna do it.
marvelous.
Guzma up that.
Uh-huh.
Yep. He's going for it. I can see him.
What is he gonna get back?
It's got to get something. Maybe a Nightmare knows.
Because it's a tree, no, just a card on top of it.
He shuffled it. And that was
Cosmic
having you
power.
For
For
3.
3.
feel like that would be a little risky too, though. Like, you're essentially assuring at least one more trainer card into your hand with Poltergeist on the field.
Well, I mean, it's going on top of his deck.
Yeah, it's not
Oh
gonna be in
yeah,
hand.
you're right. Right. But the
So
next drop.
It's a safe card. The only way I could disrupt it is if I played down, but
I just gotta figure.
Oh my god.
the turns, man.
Well-
How far into time are we?
We are currently at 50 minutes.
Jesus.
Okay.
Garbage collection.
Okay, what you putting on top?
I think he knows.
Let him think.
To be fair, I think the first like 10 or so is the intro, but
Yeah.
still.
Mhm. For one match, what is it?
It's long. Yeah.
It's okay. We already knew this.
This is a hard match going in, so
Philip's like, why don't you rope me into this?
Because he hasn't
This is like the
experienced
most
that
I've had to
ever.
think.
the most you've had to I guess you're
No,
going,
that's not true.
I was gonna say-
is more. So,
I was going to say the most I've had to play
but this
playing
is, this
Eternal.
is a very close second for
The
sure.
most I've had to play playing Eternal was playing freaking Guardy. That hurt my head.
Honestly, I'm building that right now.
Dirty.
That
I-
deck is something else.
That deck
in
is
Eternal.
too much thinking. I don't want to.
But that's the thing though. Like when it hasn't clicked with me, but once it does, I feel like it's gonna be so good.
It's a good deck, especially now that Mewtwo v Union's legal.
Mm-hmm.
But my goodness, is it a mind melter?
Wrong.
And I realize I have most of the
Tate
things.
and Liza.
Bonkers.
Ooh.
Tate and Liza for the win right there.
I don't know if I want to touch. Touch between here.
And for those of us not in
Oh,
know, Tail Liza, it's a switch and what?
It's either a switch or a shuffle and draw 5.
Oh, that is an amazing card.
That's why it's an attack.
Closing card, putting 2 at the bottom. Fine.
Yay, hooray for me innovating stuff.
Right for you putting a switch card in the deck.
Look, motherfucker. That card's been in there forever.
Psychic, so everlasting darkness for
I kid.
So, to be clear for our viewers, the control player here on the bottom, or on the right side of the screen, is item locked again. Still, I guess, because of Vileplume, but even shutting off Vileplume won't shut off the item lock.
Luxury level X, level up. Bright look, give me that.
Who could have seen it coming?
I would have never guessed.
Legacy energy.
Frick does this?
A lot of stuff. What
So-
does luxury do?
It's 60 and the 30 ping.
For those who are not familiar with Luxray G level X, it has the ability Bright Look, which we've just seen. Once during your turn before you attack, when you put Luxray GL level X from your hand onto your active Luxray GL, you may switch the defending Pokemon with one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So it is a gust effect. And then it has the attack Flash Impact for Lightning Colorless. It does 60 damage and says that it does 30 damage to one of your Pokemon. Don't apply weakness and resistance to this damage.
A little bit of a history lesson.
Bench shield.
Bench shield.
I love bench.
You see the combo right now, right?
A little bit of a history lesson on Luxray G level X. It used to be the only way in the retro format to
Cosmic
gust.
Power
It was so powerful it made
for 4.
it very expensive.
It's still very expensive. Right now, a Rising Rivals copy is $90.
Yeah, that's about
Is it
how
all
much
trainer cards, man?
that's about how much it used to.
Oh, there he is. There's the guy.
He's gone, though, so...
He's gone, but not forgotten.
R.I.P.
He's gone, but definitely forgotten, actually.
That's hilarious.
Flash Impact for 60. I'm going to choose to do the damage to Staraptor Frontier Brain, but Bent Shield blocks the damage.
I assume it's like Mr. Mime, right? Blocks from all damage.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bent Shield's text says, as long as this Pokemon this card is attached to is on your bench, prevent all damage to that Pokemon by attacks, both yours and your opponents.
It's basically how you can choose a Terra Pokemon with Drapion V, but the damage won't get applied.
Support navigation.
I think we're ramping up here, boys.
We are definitely ramping.
Yo,
Loving it.
yo, yo, yo.
We're gonna use him on a Dialga.
We're gonna Guzma the bastards, or we're gonna Guzma. Call him what he is.
Oh, space.
I know it's rich. I know it's rich to call it that, considering Banette, but you know.
Cosmic power. Goes to the bottom and draw.
Stunned.
And then Poltergeist.
Yippee!
That's for murder right there. The numbers got big.
Is a bird coming out?
No.
What?
Level up.
I knew it.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
So, for those who are unfamiliar,
Usually Buddy Catch, yeah.
yeah, this Fast Call is just like the Dragonite from.
Fast Call. Or no, first Artisan.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, the effect of Fast Call is searching for a supporter, and then Defog does 40 damage before doing damage. You may discard any stadium card in play. If you do this, attack's base damage is 70 instead of 40.
All right. Cookie for whoever knows the name of the Frontier Brain on Star Raptor, a level X. FB level X.
Celia.
Not Celia.
That's not Celia?
No.
Oh, I thought that his name was Celia. I'm crazy then.
Get over here.
So the name is The Rock.
Duroc?
Yes,
Sounds like a Vorlon.
and he is
It does.
Caitlin's butler.
Or like a
Caitlin's
drowsy name,
Mhm.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
Darach. No, it's like Drach,
Present him?
the emissaries of shadows.
6.
So was it that
Consonant.
Caitlin was the Frontier Brain and
Power
then but
for 4.
The Rock fought for her, or it would be the Frontier Brain?
Oh.
Because then they bring Caitlin back as a,
Fast Call?
what was it, Elite Four member?
For Gladium.
What is prize that he needs? I actually don't know what it could be. Team Rocket's handiwork.
Imagine.
I would cry, I think.
Flesh Impact, choosing Star Raptor Frontier Brain.
Draw. Use my Star After.
Oh my god!
That was the price card I took.
It's so good.
Damn.
This game's honestly really good.
It is.
Cosmic power. I'll put these two to the bottom. And draw 2. Jeez, why? What?
They're all coming out now.
Poltergeist.
Mer.
Murder is what you're saying.
The Iro wine. Mer.
I don't get a price card. Or I do get a price
You
card.
do get a prize card.
Not for him. No, not for the cat. I found my issue.
What was the issue?
Pricing.
Oh, pricing. I see.
Mhm.
Look how many freaking energy are in there.
Oh,
It could be so much worse.
yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
God, look at
What is it? Remove lock was doing. Let's just say there was like 10 energy or something like that. How many were in the?
There's 9 in the
The
deck.
deck plays
Okay,
nine.
so
I know
How-
I know the energy ratio, trust me.
Yeah, the deck
it was a
not changed.
hyperbole for effect, but obviously, how big did the Lazlo get with energy with your
Against Tiff.
yeah?
First game 9.
So
Second game,
every single
the
energy.
second game 8. Because the last one was prized.
So the only reason you didn't last on everything.
Yeah.
It's basically to the point where he could attack with Cram twice over.
Mm-hmm.
And really close to
Don't give him any ideas.
lost.
You're putting freaking Cram and Crisis Punch or something like that. What was the other one? The one that hits like a bunch of people?
Kira?
No,
I
I'm
take
taking
the
the
TF.
Yeah.
Blindside?
Blindside's a sniper.
Yeah, Graham is like the
War?
healing god.
Switch to the Claydol.
Hell yeah, brother. Warp. Digivolve. Wait, what?
No, no.
Wrong game.
Yeah, wrong. Super wrong game.
Gladium.
Alright, what nonsense does he have in there?
All the
Yeah.
nonsense. Oh, geez.
Is it that bad?
Actually, yeah.
His third and fourth loss remover.
Yeah, that's actually very vital.
And then Gladian just takes the suppose.
So is Gladian considering heavy ball, but you can actually do anything with it?
Pretty much.
And it's the supporter. It's actually why it's in here in case like I get item wrong.
Right, you've taken prize first this game. I was like, why is there only 4?
He has knocked out a Banette.
Yeah.
Cosmic power for one. Trash bolt for 70.
Trash bowl? Okay. You take 20 back. Drop, dude. Who's me? Guzma and take 18. Is there a way I can put training cards back in your hand? So, with the ruling of Kokabo, can I still Cosmic Power for no effect?
Yes, there
Is
is
it
a ruling
worded
specific.
differently?
It's worded differently, and there's actually a ruling for Claydol.
I'm
Yes.
gonna do that. Those two to the bottom. And then I don't.
That's very interesting, honestly.
Poltergeist.
Mhm.
Yippee!
So the play dog can prevent a deck out as well, then, right?
Yes.
Yes.
That's like why it's just so much better than Kokabo everywhere.
Yeah, Quackabow's wording is such that you can't do it anymore, but you still can do it.
I
with
definitely
Kokabo.
did that during the release. I just want to say.
Did you take a price?
Oh, the putting it on the
Well, I
bottom.
didn't draw a card yet.
Oh, that
Yeah.
like energy.
I
You're right.
definitely did that during the pre-release.
You should not have.
I didn't know. I assumed it worked the same as Claydol. That was the only experience I had with the sort of ability.
Do it.
The third Guzma the boss followed up again. I don't know.
I don't know what's going on here, but it's fun. That moment when Banette has to choke super hard, and all it takes is def or a single tails to end the game. That
Just
was
to recap,
wild.
6, 12, 240, 360.
360.
That was one
That
deck
is
play
a
dog.
dead Claydol.
Yeah.
So,
So I got that on my prize cards for the Gladium.
oh. Jeez. So what is the bronze on in there for?
Oh, that thing is a menace.
Beat it.
Yes.
Because it moves energy around,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
How does it help?
So let's say if I don't have the level X out yet for that, or even if I have that out and you like boss it up because it's a retreat cost, I can play warp energy, bring it down, and then just galactic switch the energy to a different SP.
Oh, it's any energy. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it is amazing, honestly.
All right, so we look at the deck lists.
I just want to say, I prized both Lucamine and the Guzma that game.
My
Both Lucamine.
Yeah.
it literally came down to like I literally just could not get the Garbotoxin in time.
So there was literally
The
a very
Garbotoxin
slow
and then
rinse,
the double tails on
and
the
at a certain
that
point,
one attack.
everything opened up,
Yeah.
and it was literally like it
I
was
knew-
gonna
I
be
knew-
one or the other,
And if
and
I got
he
these
got
two
the
out at
advantage.
once, I would be able to at least wall him with
Yeah.
this. Because as soon as I fobbed the floatstone on the Trubbish, I knew that like this, and then he touched another Flowstone to I think the Claydol.
But
Yeah.
I know he didn't have.
and I'll tell you exactly the turning point, and unfortunately Ryan did miss it. It was the Garble Toxin. Yeah.
It was Grand Tree not
Because
being used. Yeah.
that one literally, and then Caleb just took that.
But like I'm so used to Grand Tree just going into stage 2s, not stage 1s,
Yeah.
because of TCG Live. Everybody just uses it for their stage 2s, so I'm just so used to it that way.
Well, it does get used otherwise. So Banette Vileplume, this is the first draft for this version of the deck. Since the big changes with the Surging Sparks ban list, I think it does work. Just don't prize with both Lucamine, and you'll be fine.
I never played Banette before this, for the record.
Yeah.
It was okay. Like I think this was a okay matchup for it. I think if he had been able to set up the Garbage Toxin sooner, I would have been in a lot more trouble. And additionally, he used the Goop Gas and his Loss Removers really early, so I was able to kind of count on him not being able to do those again after that. Until he garbage collectioned, and then I got scared.
It's all fun and games until the Trubbish attacks.
Yeah. But I don't know. I don't see myself playing Banette after this by any means. I think Grand Tree is probably correct. I think it makes sense.
That was my innovation.
I personally want both the Glooms to be the same one.
You want them both to be the one.
I don't think there's any reason to play the other one.
Well, the other one can be used to
I
force the
don't
opponent
care.
out.
You don't want to attach energy to it. There's no. It's just. I think you should just run the two ability ones. Other than that, I like the lists for the most part. I think maybe Roseanne's and Collectors is a little redundant. I almost wish there were three Roseanne's instead of the Collector. But I get the Collectors for turn 1, but if you can't get it turn 1, I feel like Roseanne's is just better in every situation after.
Third Roseanne's is better, you think?
I almost... That or like an Arvin, maybe. Is it running Arvin? It's not.
No.
So maybe like an Arvin instead of it too. Because...
Have you considered TM Evolution?
Can't.
TME goes banned, yeah.
It's banned.
It is really?
Yeah, because I got it banned.
You got it bad.
Yeah, I got it.
Technically, he didn't. Technically, he got another card banned,
Which
that
then
did the same
got
thing,
Evolution
which is
banned.
effectively the same.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think Banette still works. Obviously, these were both two very slow decks, kind of smacking each other in the beginning, but once it picked up, it picked up.
Yeah.
I think against a much faster paced deck, both of these decks would probably have a bit of a harder time. Unless you can get that Grand Tree super early.
That's the thing is Banette, the way it works is to force the opponent to slow down to its speed. That's always how Banette has worked.
Yeah, and
You throw shot bets at it until you can set.
actually, I take it back.
That's kind of
I
also
don't think
how.
I don't think there should be an Arvin unless we add a third tool, because Guzma hauling for the special energy basically only it felt really bad.
What about the Colress card?
Well, Guzmahala would have worked really good.
Colress's tenacity actually does sound really good.
Yeah.
You grab Horror Energy Grand Tree. That does sound pretty good.
That might be a consideration.
I kind of agree with that, yeah.
So
Over the Collector.
not just the third Guzmahala.
I don't know how much you actually want to be discarding stuff from your hand is the problem. Like it's hard to decide what to discard.
So Guzmahala does an item, a supporter,
It's
tool.
a tool.
Tool Stadium Special Energy.
Tool, stadium, special energy.
Yeah.
And Colress
Grabs a
tenacity.
energy and a stadium, and there's no discard. It's basically a weaker, but with no discard.
With no discard, obviously you don't
But
get the
you're
tool.
not getting the tool. Yeah.
But you're not getting the tool. But if the deck's only running 2 Flowstones, then it's not the end of the world.
I still want Guzmahala, but I feel
I
like
agree.
they're
The deck still runs 2 of them already. So.
Yeah, I think 2 Guzmahala and a Chorus. Because I don't know, my problem is just discarding is not great for control decks. That's why they tend to not run stuff like
and there's just like what
Ultra Ball.
Clara to recover. There's
I
no
mean-
other recovery.
Yeah, it's Clara and Lucamine.
Yeah.
Clara. If I had hit Clara at any point, I feel like I would have been in a better spot.
Clara's.
I never saw
Yeah.
Clara. I only saw Lucamine off that one prize card towards the end. I don't know.
Yeah, because I was looking at the list for recovery or anything, and I just saw Clara there, and I'm like, he has not seen the Clara the whole
So the
thing.
question I have for you is: do you think it's right to keep the split for Vileplume to 1/1/1 or back to
I
2/1?
think that's correct.
So
I
don't-
think it's just there's too many situations where you might use one over the other, or even just the basic one to wall.
I guess now that you don't have to worry about green's exploration, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
Right? Because the reason you were kind of hesitant to use the
Ability one
Ancient
of
was
those.
because
it
of
would lock
green.
you out of green.
Yeah.
And now the only thing that would block you out in the deck is the gloom, but you're never going to stay in there if you don't have to. Not that greens is the thing anyways, but
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
It's banned. So
I think again I would like both the glooms to be the same one.
And let's look at Dialga level X control. Thoughts on this deck list?
I mean, this is one of 5 versions I have, honestly. The other version that I have that actually probably would have been very good in this matchup actually would have been the non-double night maintenance, because one of my other versions actually, instead of double night maintenance, it swaps the night maintenance actually for Palmer's contribution. Hi. So Palmer's contribution, I can shuffle up in combination of 5 Pokemon or basic energies back into the deck, which actually would have helped out here because I could have gone Dialga G level X, and 3 energies. But
That's a.
it's a
Palmer's is the supporter.
Would you use Brock's great?
Palmer's contribution.
But wouldn't you just use Brock's great?
Fair.
Brock's great's better.
Yeah, it's 1 extra.
So the Palmers is probably because you were thinking too much Gen 4.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was literally
In Gen 4, that would cover your choice.
So yeah, okay, yeah, I would use Brock's grit. But it ultimately just came down to I just did not get my Garbotoxin out fast enough, and I misplayed by not Grand Treeing because I forgot that you can for stage 1. I'm just so used to everybody grabbing their stage 2s. Past that, this is the SP control. I do have like other versions of this that are very more heavy on non-SP control.
Clearly, it works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It works. It does actually take a lot of knowing certain matchups actually, because that depends on actually like what supporters you play at certain times, what you want to prioritize putting energy on. I mean, I know it's very basic that you're putting your energy on like Dialga, but like you do need to know like kind of like, okay, do I need to start powering up another one right now or not?
Yeah, just like any control art type,
Like in
yeah.
this matchup, you can take a turn because you're resistant to Psychic, but in other ones, you kind of need to start building up another if you don't have the Bronzong out already.
So another question for you. So you learned right before this match that the wording of Paul versus Conspiracy didn't let you find cards you were expecting to be able to get off of it. How do you feel about Paul versus Conspiracy?
I do still like it. I don't know if I'm gonna keep it as a 2 of or at least a 1 of, because the thing I do really like about it is it can still at least let me go get the SP radars for when I'm not item locked. I can just go get a SP Pokemon. It lets me get Power Spray if I need to. That's more so for the other versions now, because this one runs on 1 Power Spray, as whereas the others are running like 2 or 3. Hi.
Power Spray is the devil.
Then I also can get a basic energy, and I can also get a supporter for the following turn. So like it's, I guess, Secret Box for back then.
A little bit, yeah. Because honestly, it's an amazing card, honestly. So are you going to try to like modify this one into your main version, or are you going to use one of the other versions?
I don't know. I'm still toying with all of them. I'm still testing them all to see which versions I like, because I do have one version where you're actually not, your main attacker is actually not Dialga. Your main attacker is actually Luxray EX.
The next question I have for you is: do you feel like Will is actually worth including?
Will is at least worth it.
That's a 2 of.
The 2 of was more so in this version. My other version version 1 has a 1 of in it. Version 2 was a 2 of.
Why 2 of in this one versus 1?
It was more so to just like hit them, because this one was built for a little bit more consistent attacking rather than the other version where it's just slightly slower.
And to be clear, will just assures you that you'll at least hit the
Yeah,
first energy.
it's
remove loss.
primarily in there to at least guarantee a heads. But like I mean, you can get by as a one of. It's definitely not like a card that I'd do like 3 or 4 of. In these versions,
I just feel like doesn't Glimwood Tangle basically do the same thing?
it does. It's more so to try to hit both.
Because you never used Will this game, right?
No.
So sorry. Well,
was
I mean,
the-
it doesn't though, right? Like Limwood Tangle allows you to flip it again, but
I
doesn't
I
Will
was about
assure you?
to I was about to use it on
does,
him,
yeah.
but I didn't draw into it until a turn later, and by that time I flipped double tails on the
Wait.
attack.
I just realized who I'm talking about. Of course, Glimwood Tangle does the exact same thing. You were just correct.
The
No
other
way to get into
one of my
Tails.
other versions, it has like a one of will, but it's more heavy on Glenwood Tingle and Victini.
Yeah, this deck is definitely very interesting. I think I'm going to tease today's video, or today's. We're recording this on Saturday. I think I'm going to tease Monday's Eternal Monday with the deck lists just because they are so interesting.
I think
around.
that's a really fascinating deck.
Yeah.
I think it loses to a lot more straightforward decks.
It's
Iron Hands, for example.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I-
I think it's super fascinating the way it's built. I
It's
do
meant
like
to
it.
bring down stuff that needs to do things
Yeah.
other than just attach and attack.
Yeah.
It will lose to something that
I just
attached.
I just very much like that the Pokemon engine is not modern.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that is one of the biggest complaints most
Honestly,
people have.
I after seeing that, I'm wondering if Star after level X should see more play.
Probably.
That seems stupid good.
it is.
Like having it
That's
as A, a
that's
pivot,
why when
and
we
be like a supporter every turn
yeah
with a thing that's
when
really
it's a
hard to
pivot
prevent.
too.
Well,
That's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
It's so
So, like,
good.
And
when you get something
here's the
knocked
other
out.
thing. If you have if you have Curly Wall in play, it technically does lower the damage because it's a basic colorless.
Yeah, so Terapagos 100% should be playing
Yeah,
this Raptor in
absolutely.
Eternal.
Because Terapagos kind of wants its supporters also.
I mean, I understand.
Now
people like
with
Noctowl.
Terapagos, you would probably run a 2-2 line. You wouldn't probably do a 1-1.
I mean, you still probably focus on Noctowl.
Yeah, I mean you would
Yeah.
still do Noctowl, but you do this one as like a backup because it's also a pivot, and there's not a lot of pivot for Terapagos.
No.
I'm still designing a deck specifically to counter it. I don't care.
Yeah.
Even so, it's a cool deck. Hopefully, people will find it interesting to watch this game. I know this is a longer first drafts game, and longer first drafts video in general. This is actually longer than most of our Eternal format videos. Yeah, actually that's something that's worth bringing up too. Is the fact that this game went for basically over an hour. That's not doable in a tournament. It
No.
turns out, because most Eternal
but-
tournaments are best of one.
So
30
these are
minutes.
time.
Yeah, this would have been a tie.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I would have played flat faster if this was a tournament.
Well, you'd
But
probably
I would
been
have
a
led
little
to
more familiar.
mistakes. That would definitely would. And I also had
Yeah,
never
it's
touched
your
the
first
deck
time
before.
playing.
You'd have been more familiar with the deck probably before bringing it to tournament.
Probably just having a lot of
So in other words, it requires a lot more practice before even touching a tournament, or you're gonna end up drawing.
Well, that's why I brought one of the other versions Wednesdays, because I had played a lot all week after I built it. Because I told y'all literally a week before the tournament that I was building this essentially, and Trinidad knew me and Trinidad had been coming up with an idea for this deck for like 7 months, but like it's just like once Glenwood and Victini got banned, I immediately went into like literally just solely building like
Look, man,
these
let
versions.
Gen 4 die.
What?
Let
Alright.
Gen 4 die.
Let's let this video go, guys. Again, thank you all for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. We will see you on Wednesday for something else Eternal related.
Never heard of it.